What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Game Week 17 Wildcard video. My name is Ryan, and welcome to the Football Chatbox. Today, we're going to be looking into a Game Week 17 Wildcard team, a potential wildcard team for those of you who still have your wildcard. And also, I will talk about um, the pros and cons by showing you the Game Week 17 wildcard team compared to what maybe a Game Week 19 wildcard team would have, and why maybe you could either keep it till Game Week 19 or you could look to play it by this week in Game Week 17. So hopefully this video helps those of you who still have your wildcard chip. And for those of you who do not have a wildcard chip and you've used your first wildcard chip, maybe this video will help you to kind of see which players you could try to look and get that your team doesn't have, that maybe potential wildcarders are looking to get. So without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, so now I've got a wildcard team that I've built with the, the money that I could do, like I could afford. Now, obviously, when you sell Haaland, the first key thing to mention in this is that when you sell Haaland, the money is not a problem. But I'll tell you why. It depends on how you structure the team, right? And so sometimes you might, when you sell Haaland and you need a plan to get him back when you do a Game Week 17 wildcard, you need to kind of manage your budget. So in goal, I've got Dubravka and Leno. In defense, I've gone for Senesi, who's already had 2 mega hauls, and I've been mentioning him so far recently as well in the deadline streams and everything. Simicas, Pedro Porro. In midfield, I've got Saka, Gordon, Son, Palmer, Salah captaincy. And forward, I've got Watkins and Solanke. And on the bench, I got Raul Jimenez, Gabriel, and I have Braithwaite in there just because he's a very affordable defender at 4.1. And I think Everton will give you some games where you can actually play them for clean sheet perspectives. And I think he's also a pretty good bonus point player for Everton as well when he's played. Now, obviously, he is suspended for this week, but I think going forward, there are fixtures that he is probably like one of the best 4.1, 4 million defender options that you have. Okay, now I've got Dubravka and Leno. And the reason I've got Dubravka, even with the rumors that Newcastle may be looking for a goalkeeper, is just that I think there's still a bit of potential in there. And obviously, who else are you going to go to? Turner again? Maybe what if Turner loses his spot again? So it's just 1.1 million difference. I don't think it'll impact you too badly, to be honest. So I don't mind having Dubravka for the moment. And then Leno, obviously, is your permanent full-time keeper until game week 34 or something, maybe 30. Sorry, game week 30 something. So now I've got the FDR up here, and you kind of need your wildcard to this wildcard that you're playing to last till maybe, let's say, game week 30 is like the end of March. Yeah, game week 30 sounds about, if you can hold it till then, it's a pretty good idea. So we've got the FDR up here for you guys to also see. So we'll kind of go through each teams as we go. But in goal, let's start Leno and Dubravka. Now, I think Leno is probably one of the better keepers in terms of will give you save points when they don't keep a clean sheet. When they do keep a clean sheet, has decent potential for bonus points because they do concede a lot of chances, so he makes a lot of saves. The fixtures are a mixed bag, obviously, but out of all the keepers so far, Leno is probably the best option right now. And if I'm not mistaken, he's also the highest scoring keeper. Let me actually check that right now. Yes, he is the highest scoring keeper. So Leno, good shout. I've gone with Dubravka to pair him because if some miracle Dubravka still manages to maintain his spot even after the January transfer window, then you've got a good 4 million cheap defender from Newcastle, right? That's a pretty good player to have. Now, in defense, I've gone for. Let me tell you the players I absolutely want in defense. Now, because of Trippier's suspension, I haven't got Trippier in right now, and I feel like you kind of see this out, right? The next couple of fixtures for Now, obviously, they're good fixtures, but you'll only have him from Luton and then Forest, and then after that, 3 the harder fixtures after that. Before the easy run comes again in 23. So you probably can get him back in 23. You just see this run out without going for Trippier. So the main defenders I want are Pedro Porro. I think Pedro Porro is a really good defensive option. And I've gone for Gabriel from Arsenal defense. I know they have still Brighton and Liverpool upcoming, but after that, Arsenal's fixture run is pretty good. And you'd want an Arsenal defender for that run. And there's no point in making a planned transfer now itself. Might as well get him in and keep him. That's my move. If you can stretch your budget, and when I mean budget, obviously there's a lot of budget when you have without Haaland, but you kind of have to keep a plan for getting Haaland back, right? So you need some money in there. But if you can stretch from Gabriel to Zinchenko, I don't mind that as well. That depends on your team value, and all of that. I think the best way for you to kind of build your draft, if you're building, is to probably have Haaland in at the moment and build accordingly. And I'm 0.4 short here, but I think if you're like 0.2 short, it's fine because Haaland will drop in price. As you get might rise in price by that time, so you'll manage to make do. If not, you take a -4 to kind of like get Haaland back, or you'll be probably selling Son or Salah Cup Gameweek 2021 around that time. So you'll be able to get Haaland back without an issue. But if you want, I don't mind Zinchenko going forward. It depends on who you want to go for, Gabriel or Zinchenko. So the reason I'm saying Zinchenko is because he's a slightly better in terms of bonus points and everything. Bit of a rotation problem, but better for bonus points overall. So those are the two main defenders I want. I've got Tsimikas in there, purely because I still think Trent is expensive at his price range. You could go there, but I feel like the boat has kind of sailed on Liverpool's really good fixtures. Probably the next time to get Trent would most likely be Game Week 21 once Salah is gone. And then by then you'll have enough money to get Trent as well. So I think for now, Tsimikas, if you had him, keep him. I think you have value stored in there as well. I think he's a good option for the moment. And I've gone for Senesi because 3 good fixtures upcoming for Bournemouth. They are they're second in terms of attack and defense for the last 6 game weeks. He's obviously at 2 mega hauls already. Could potentially get more attacking returns going forward as well. So I've got him in. And then obviously Gabriel and Braithwaite for the rest of defense. Midfield, Saka, Gordon, Son, Palmer, Salah. It's a template midfield. And the forward line is Watkins, Solanke, and Raul Jimenez. Now, here's the things that could change. Raul Jimenez, you don't really need if you want to. The reason I have him in here is when you go to Game Week 18, let's say Saka is playing Liverpool and you're not confident of Saka's potential returns, and you rather have Raul Jimenez against Burnley, you could do something like that. But if you're not going to play Jimenez and you still think that you'd rather play Saka against Liverpool, or for the sake, because I've got Palmer in here, if maybe Palmer gets a yellow card in Game Week 17, then he's suspended, then you have at least a decent third striker to play if Palmer is suspended, right? That's one of the reasons why I've got Raul Jimenez in there to kind of like consider those possibilities. But if you don't want, you can just move him to a cheaper striker. I would say Semenyo, but he's about to go on AFCON, so probably not. But then we don't know how long he's going to be out as well for AFCON. He could probably just be out for 1 game. We can come back. He's also not a bad option. But to be honest, Raul Jimenez at 5.3 now. It's not a bad choice, to be honest, given that he will play for Fulham, starting striker. So good price, good striker. Pictures we've seen, Fulham can score goals as well. Now, apart from this is a very template midfield. I do agree. You could change it up slightly. You could change it up slightly, and it depends on how you want to do it. Now, if you think Palmer, you don't want to risk Palmer's 5th yellow, and you'd rather wait till 17 is done to see whether he gets a yellow. If he doesn't get a yellow, then 18 he's fine. Then you could probably wait without Palmer and go for someone like, who would we even go for in midfield? Let me have a look in terms of who I would actually want. You could go for someone like a Tavernier if you wanted to, as a Bournemouth option. Pretty cheap. Instead of Palmer. Same price, if not 0.1 cheaper. Tavernier is not a bad option. You could also go for a short week punt for 2 game weeks at least. Richarlison. That's also not a bad shout if you wanted to. If you wanted to move it back to Palmer after that, that's not a bad shout. Or you could go for, I would say Hwang Hee-chan, but he's also on the same situation as Palmer, could get a 5th yellow. You could keep you could have Bowen in here as well if you wanted to. Although I feel like West Ham's run is about to end, so I wouldn't do that. The other option for you would be maybe Kulusevski. Also not a bad shout. Again, similar to Richarlison punt. Or I would have said Douglas Lewis, but he's suspended for 17. So you kind of maybe what you could do is you get Douglas Lewis in now, and you play Jimenez or Douglas Lewis, because Douglas Lewis will be available for game week 18 against Sheffield. So it's up to you in terms of that fifth midfield spot. You can kind of rotate in terms of how you want to do it. Maybe you just get Palmer and you go, I don't like Arsenal's attacking stats, and I think I can go without Saka. And you go, instead of Saka, you maybe go like a Richarlison or like any of the other fifth midfielders we mentioned, or even like Foden if you can afford the benching of Cities in game week 18, which you probably could, to be honest, given that you're playing a game week 17 wildcard. You can like kind of prepare for it, right? You can prepare for a benching in game week 18. So maybe if you're doing like a Foden, then I don't know if I'll get Palmer, because it might be too much risky with like potentially both missing for game week 18. Then I would probably have Saka as well in here. Do something like this. Foden not available. That's fine. Play. That's why the Raul Jimenez move comes in. Play him. Go back to 19. You have Foden back for Everton. You can bring in Palmer if you wanted to now, or you could even remove Gordon, right? Because Liverpool are about to go on a 3 tough fixture. Newcastle are about to go on 3 tough fixtures. You could remove even Gordon and get Palmer back in over here. That's also something you could look to do. Now, when you're doing all of these moves, now this is game week 19, you would probably want Haaland back in. Now, City have a game in 19 against Everton, and then 2 days later, they've got a game against Sheffield United. Now, you could probably wait out. If Haaland is fit by 19, you could probably not get him in 19 if you wanted to. You can get him straight back in. Or you could get him back in 20 as well. Now, it depends if you want to get him in for Solanke, which probably might be a bit more easier to do than, let's say, getting him in for a Raul Jimenez. As you can see, I'm 0.18 short. This is where the problem with, like, you need to make a calculation in terms of when you get like a Foden here, that's another problem. Those are all funds that are being occupied by other players. So maybe you could do what I did was get Palmer in here. You could roll the transfer to game week 20 if you wanted to, and then do like, let's say Salah is playing Newcastle. Okay, you go. I'll get Salah out 1 week early than what I should have in 21. You move Salah to, who would you want to go to? At that point in game week 20, who do we have? Probably if KDB is back, maybe him. But I don't know if I want KDB. Spurs options are still good. So if Richarlison is still firing, you could go to Richarlison. Chelsea, maybe Sterling, but fixtures are going to get slightly harder after that, so maybe not. Who else could you go to? You could probably go Aston Villa, to be honest. You could go Salah to like a Douglas Lewis, like we mentioned. And then you could do, instead of going Solanke out, you could do Jimenez out and get like a Haaland. You have 4.1 as well. And then like the week after, you can try to bring in a Trent as well if you wanted to, or a Trippier as well in 20, what was it? 23. So you have funds to like upgrade any of your defenders to go and get a Trippier or a Trent. So these are a few things that you could probably look and consider as well if you wanted to. It depends on how you want to play it. Now, let's get to the point of game week 19 wildcard. What would be different from this team compared to a game week 19 wildcard? Well, for starters, if the rumors of Dubravka losing his place gets even more louder, you probably don't have him. You have someone else. You won't have Senesi because Bournemouth's good fixture run would have ended. And you probably won't have Gordon as well because of those 3 fixtures I showed you. What else in a game week 19 wildcard? You probably will have more City by then, to be honest. If we get news of a double game week that's approaching for City and Brentford, probably might have more City at that as well with regards to that. And in a Game Week 19 wildcard, I think you might also not have one of Son or Salah because you'll have Haaland back in. You probably might have to go without one of them, just so you could use those funds better elsewhere by getting in. Maybe instead of Tsimikas, you go and get Trippier, or you go and get Trent, by using the funds of either not having Son or Salah, to go and get someone better in defense, like more attacking. So those are the tiny, minute details between Game Week 17 and Game Week 19. And also, I think the one advantage to Game Week 19 is you kind of avoid this whole fixture crunch chaos. You still do have somewhat of a fixture crunch chaos, because where is Game Week 19? It's on the 26th of December. So you still have to deal with Game Week 20's like a quick succession of games, but you at least avoided most of all this Europe problem and whatnot, and you have a better idea. Maybe you get more information with double game weeks. So there are advantages to a Game Week 20 wildcard, and also you can dead end your current team without Haaland. You can go big, spend the money. You don't have to worry about using the money of Haaland elsewhere because you can always restructure the team in Game Week 19. So you have all those opportunities when you do a Game Week 19 wildcard compared to someone who does a Game Week 17 wildcard. You still have to be mindful of where you're spending the Haaland money. So those are a few things to kind of keep in mind while you're doing preparations. So yeah, let me know what you thought about this wildcard video. Hopefully it helps you. And usually we do a team selection video today, but I've instead uploading this, and we'll do a team selection video to answer any questions that you may have tomorrow at 9 p.m. Sydney time, which should be 3:30 p.m. IST and 10 a.m. GMT, I think. Let me see. Yeah, 10 a.m. GMT, 9 p.m. AEDT Sydney time, and I think that's 3:30 p.m. IST as well. So thank you all for watching. If you reached up to this point, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Ask me any questions you have in the comments if you're playing the wildcard, if you've already played the wildcard, or if you think there are better players that are not on here as well. I'm completely open to ideas. Yeah, if you're new, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you.